Have you ever felt it? That chilling whisper? A seismic tremor beneath the polished surface of your everyday life? Hinting at something vast and terrible, yet profoundly beautiful, just beyond the veil. I have. I remember nights, lying awake, the city's distant hum a hollow lullaby, my phone a relentless beacon of crisis, floods, fires, whispers of war, a world collectively holding its breath. Every headline felt like a hammer blow, each division a deeper crack in the fragile glass of our existence. We scroll, we consume, we drown in the digital noise, desperate for an anchor, a compass, anything to steady the ship of our souls as it drifts further into an unknown sea. Do you ever wonder if we're truly ready for what's coming, for the inevitable reckoning that feels less like a distant prophecy and more like a shadow lengthening at our very door? I confess, there are moments when the sheer weight of it all feels crushing. You know the feeling, don't you? That gnawing uncertainty, a silent question echoing in the quiet hours, long after the world has gone to sleep. For me, it was never just about the headlines, the daily deluge of crises that painted our collective existence in shades of gray. It was deeper. It was the unsettling sensation that beneath the polished veneer of our modern lives, something vast and terrifying, yet profoundly beautiful, was stirring. A seismic tremor from the very edge of eternity, whispering of an inevitable reckoning. I'd lie awake, the city's distant hum, a hollow lullaby, my phone, a relentless beacon of crisis, floods, fires, whispers of war, and my soul would ask, are we truly ready for what's coming? This question, heavy with both dread and a strange, desperate hope, became my constant companion, a shadow lengthening at my very door, demanding an answer I didn't know how to give. We scroll, we consume, we drown in the digital noise, desperate for an anchor, a compass, anything to steady the ship of our souls as it drifts further into an unknown sea. I was no different. My own purpose often felt as fleeting as a shadow, a fleeting whisper lost in the clamor. There was a profound anguish, a generational adriftness that I felt in my bones, a longing for something definitive, a truth to prepare for what felt inevitable yet incomprehensible. Then, one night, amidst the blur of news alerts flashing across my screen, a fleeting mention caught my eye. A snippet of an interview, a rumor catching fire, Mel Gibson, speaking with an intensity that pierced the digital static, claiming a direct, profound vision from Jesus about his imminent return. It wasn't just news, it was a jolt, a personal challenge that resonated with that unarticulated question deep within me. The idea itself felt almost sacrilegious, a dangerous discovery, yet it held an undeniable pull. Why him? A man whose life had been as public as it had been scrutinized, whose cinematic legacy included the unflinching, almost unbearable agony of Asterisk, the Passion of the Christ. His very name evoked controversy, but also a raw, often painful honesty about belief, suffering, and redemption. My initial skepticism quickly gave way to a desperate curiosity. What if this wasn't just another voice in the wilderness, but a clarion call, a forbidden truth ripped from the pages of prophecy? What if the signs were indeed all around us, and we were simply too blind, too deaf, to see and hear them? This moment, that flicker of a man's conviction against a backdrop of global anxiety, ignited in me an urgent, almost desperate, need to understand, to truly listen, and to finally confront the question of our collective readiness. Have you ever truly stopped to consider it? That deep, unsettling hum beneath the surface of everything, a quiet dread that shadows even our brightest moments. I'm talking about the ultimate questions, the ones that creep in when the world falls silent, and you're left alone with your thoughts. It's the fear of the final curtain, isn't it? The unknown vastness that stretches beyond our final breath, a reckoning we instinctively know awaits. We try to outrun it, to fill our lives with noise and distraction, yet the whisper persists. You feel it in the pit of your stomach when a loved one fades, or when a sudden tremor reminds you of life's fragile hold. Is it just me? Or do you also sense this universal vulnerability? this shared human condition of facing an inevitable end we can neither fully comprehend nor entirely escape. This profound, often unspoken fear binds us all. And what about purpose? That elusive anchor in a sea of endless choices. We chase fleeting shadows, scrolling through curated lives, measuring our worth against a digital mirage. Do you ever feel the swift current of time pulling you along, a relentless river carrying you further from shores you once knew, towards an uncertain horizon? The days blur into weeks, years vanish in a blink, and suddenly, the person you intended to become feels distant, a forgotten dream. This isn't just my struggle. It's a generational anguish, a collective yearning for meaning beyond the mundane. We build empires of distraction, yet the hollow ache remains, a silent testament to our longing for something real, something enduring. We search for a true north in a world overflowing with conflicting directions, often finding only more noise, more fleeting promises that leave us emptier than before. Look around, beyond your own quiet anxieties, and you'll see it woven into the very fabric of our shared existence, the crushing weight of suffering. From the stark headlines of distant wars to the quiet despair in a neighbor's eyes, the world groans under a burden. Floods, fires, division. They are not just news, but symptoms of a deeper malaise, a collective wound that bleeds across continents. We witness it. We feel its ripple effect. And we ask, sometimes silently, sometimes with a desperate cry, why? Is there any solace, any redemption in this relentless tide of pain? This isn't an abstract theological debate. It's the raw, visceral anguish of humanity, longing for an ultimate comfort, a definitive answer, a hope that transcends the immediate darkness. We crave a balm for these wounds, a promise that this suffering is not in vain, that there is a purpose, a path to salvation. I remember the night vividly, a storm outside mirroring the turmoil within. Rain lashed against my window, blurring the city lights into streaks of neon despair. My phone, a constant companion, vibrated ceaselessly with fresh alerts. Another flood, a distant conflict escalating, the world seemingly unraveling pixel by pixel. Each headline was a fresh bruise on my already weary soul, deepening that gnawing uncertainty I couldn't shake. Then, amidst the digital deluge, a snippet of an interview flickered across my screen, catching my breath in my throat. It was Mel Gibson, his eyes burning with an undeniable conviction, speaking of a direct vision from Jesus himself, proclaiming an imminent return. The words were a jolt, a seismic tremor, piercing through the digital static and the rain-soaked night. It wasn't just news. It was a personal challenge, a clarion call that ignited an urgent, almost desperate need to understand, to truly listen, and to confront the question of our collective readiness. The screen became my battlefield, a relentless glow illuminating the sleepless nights. I plunged headfirst into the digital ocean, searching for a lifeline, for any echo of truth amidst the cacophony. Articles, forums, obscure interviews. I devoured them all, desperate to validate or debunk the seismic tremor Mel Gibson's words had caused. You know the rabbit hole, don't you? That endless scroll where every click promises clarity but delivers only more questions, more conflicting voices. Each new piece of information felt like grasping at smoke, a fleeting illusion of understanding that dissolved the moment I tried to hold it. The noise was deafening. 1,000 different interpretations of prophecy, 1,000,000 different timelines, none offering the quiet assurance my soul craved. Was I chasing a ghost? Or was the truth simply buried under layers of human opinion, inaccessible to a seeker like me? The gnawing uncertainty only deepened, a constant companion in the digital wilderness. I tried to articulate this burgeoning unease, this urgent question to those around me. Conversations started tentatively, often ending in polite smiles or dismissive shrugs. Just another celebrity, some would say, or people have been predicting the end for centuries. You've probably faced it too, haven't you? That wall of skepticism. That feeling of talking into an echo chamber when your heart is screaming for understanding. I sought out online communities, hoping for shared conviction, but found only fragmented theories and fervent debates, each camp more convinced of their own singular truth. Instead of solace, I found more division, more noise, and a profound sense of isolation. My search for external validation left me feeling more alone, the weight of the unanswered question growing heavier with each failed attempt to connect, to find someone who truly saw the storm brewing beneath the surface. In the quiet aftermath of these frustrated attempts, I tried to rationalize it away. Perhaps it was just the global anxiety, the collective subconscious manifesting in a charismatic figure's pronouncements. I told myself to focus on the tangible, the immediate, to simply breathe and ignore the unsettling whispers of an impending shift. But the unease persisted, a phantom limb ache in my spirit. Have you ever tried to convince your heart of something your soul knows isn't true? It's a futile exercise, a self-deception that offers no real comfort. The more I tried to dismiss it, the more profoundly the question of readiness echoed, a silent accusation in the stillness. I realized then that my human efforts, the research, the conversations, the rationalizations, were merely scratching the surface. They couldn't touch the deep, spiritual hunger for an answer, for an intervention beyond my own limited understanding. The endless scrolling, the fragmented debates, the hollow echo of my own questions, they all dissolved one night, not with a bang, but with a profound, almost terrifying silence. I remember the air growing heavy, the distant city hum fading into a deep, resonant stillness that seemed to press in on me from all sides. It wasn't sleep, nor was it fully waking. It was a liminal space, a threshold crossed in the quiet chambers of my own spirit. Then he appeared, not in flesh and blood, but in the vivid, unyielding landscape of my mind's eye. Mel Gibson, no longer the controversial figure of headlines, but a presence, a silhouette against an ancient, burning light. His gaze, though unseen, felt like a direct address to my soul, bypassing all the noise, all the defenses I had built. A tremor, not of fear, but of profound recognition ran through me. Was this the anchor I had so desperately sought? A compass finally pointing true north? His presence radiated a quiet intensity, a wisdom forged in the crucible of both profound faith and public struggle. He didn't speak with a booming voice, but with an inner resonance that bypassed my ears and settled deep within my chest, a gentle yet firm hand guiding me. It was the spirit of his message, the unwavering conviction I had glimpsed in that fleeting interview snippet, now made tangible, almost palpable. He seemed to understand the gnawing uncertainty that had plagued me, the generational anguish, the desperate search for meaning in a chaotic world. There was no judgment in his gaze, only a deep, abiding compassion, an invitation to truly listen. He was a mentor, not of worldly knowledge, but of eternal truths, preparing me for a journey far beyond the superficial. You feel that, don't you? That longing for someone to truly see and understand your deepest fears and hopes. In this sacred, imagined space, the air itself seemed to vibrate with a truth both terrifying and utterly beautiful. He began to unfurl what he had been given, not as a storyteller recounting a tale, but as a messenger burdened by a divine trust, revealing fragments of a vision that felt as ancient as time and immediate as my next breath. The scene around us, though born of my mind, felt as real as any landscape, imbued with a soft, ethereal light that promised clarity amidst the gathering shadows. It was a guided reflection, yes, but one so vivid, so visceral, that it transcended mere thought. My desperate search for answers shifted, transforming into a profound act of receiving. The whisper of an inevitable reckoning, once a source of dread, began to take on the contours of an urgent, yet hopeful, call to action. Are you ready to hear what he saw, to truly confront the truth that waits just beyond the veil? In this sacred, imagined space, the air itself seemed to vibrate with a truth, both terrifying and utterly beautiful. He began to unfurl what he had been given, not as a storyteller recounting a tale, but as a messenger burdened by a divine trust, revealing fragments of a vision that felt as ancient as time and immediate as my next breath. The scene around us, though born of my mind, felt as real as any landscape, imbued with a soft, ethereal light that promised clarity amidst the gathering shadows. It was a guided reflection, yes, but one so vivid, so visceral, that it transcended mere thought. My desperate search for answers shifted, transforming into a profound act of receiving. The whisper of an inevitable reckoning, once a source of dread, began to take on the contours of an urgent yet hopeful call to action. Are you ready to hear what he saw, to truly confront the truth that waits just beyond the veil? Times ACT 7, Revelations in list form. 1. The time is shorter than we imagine. Asterisk. This isn't a distant prophecy, a vague promise whispered through the ages, but an imminent reality pressing against the very fabric of our present. Every second, every breath, every choice we make is a gift, a profound opportunity to align ourselves with the eternal. Do we truly grasp the preciousness of each fleeting moment, or do we squander them in the pursuit of the trivial? The city lights still blur through my mind's eye, but now they seem to pulse with a new urgency. A silent countdown. He showed me that time is not just passing, it is accelerating, pulling us closer to a threshold we must be ready to cross, awakened and aware. 2. Repentance is not optional, but essential. Asterisks. It's not a superficial apology, a mere nod to past transgressions, but a deep, seismic turning of the soul, a stripping away of all that separates us from the divine. This is an act of profound humility, yes, but also of immense courage, to face the shadows within, to lay them bare before a loving, yet just, gaze. You know that heavy feeling, don't you? That quiet ache of unaddressed guilt, that burden of things left unsaid or undone. He showed me that true repentance brings a lightness, a cleansing that prepares the spirit, making it receptive to the grace that flows freely, like a river seeking the sea. 3. Time's spiritual warfare is real. Asterisk. The battle for souls, he revealed, intensifies with each passing moment, an unseen conflict raging just beyond our senses. Be vigilant, for the enemy seeks not just to tempt, but to sow doubt, to weave division into the very tapestry of our relationships, our communities, our inner peace. Can you feel the subtle currents pulling at your serenity, the whispers of despair in the quiet hours? This isn't a call to fear, but to awareness, to arm ourselves with truth and discernment. We are not alone in this fight, but our complacency is their greatest weapon, leaving us vulnerable to unseen arrows. 4. Love. Sacrificial love is our only currency. Asterisk. Beyond mere sentiment, beyond fleeting affection, this is a love that demands action, a relentless self-giving that bears the burdens of others, just as Christ bore ours on the cross. It is the raw, agonizing truth of compassion in its purest form, a willingness to suffer for the sake of another. Have you ever truly felt the profound power of giving without expectation, of extending grace when it is least deserved? This love, he showed me, is the true language of eternity, the only treasure we can carry beyond this fragile existence, forging unbreakable bonds that defy time and mortality. 5. Haib Zintel's preparation is daily devotion. Asterisk. It is not a single, grand gesture, a dramatic conversion in a moment of crisis, but a persistent, disciplined commitment, woven into the very fabric of our everyday lives. Prayer, scripture, sacrament. These are not rituals for the pious few, but lifelines for all, a steady rhythm that fortifies the soul. Do you carve out sacred moments in your bustling day, a quiet space where the noise of the world fades and the whisper of the Spirit can be heard? He revealed that this consistent nourishment, like daily bread, builds an inner resilience, a quiet strength that will sustain us when the true reckoning arrives. 6. The world will offer false comforts. Asterisk. Do not be deceived, he implored, by the fleeting pleasures, the empty promises, the gilded cages of distraction that modern life so skillfully constructs. The shimmering illusion of material gain, the transient glow of digital validation, these are but shadows, designed to divert our gaze from the eternal, the truly enduring. Have you not felt the hollow ache, the emptiness that lingers after chasing a promise that dissolves like smoke? He revealed that these earthly allurements are potent, yes, but ultimately powerless against the profound longing for truth etched into every human heart. 7. Hope is not blind optimism, but steadfast faith. Asterisk. Even in the darkest hour, when the world seems to unravel and despair threatens to consume, the promise of his return is our unshakable anchor, a light that cannot be extinguished. This hope is not a naive belief that things will simply get better, but an unyielding certainty in the divine plan, a trust forged in the fires of adversity. What is your anchor when the storms rage around you, when the waves of uncertainty threaten to capsize your spirit? He showed me that this faith, quiet and unwavering, is the ultimate source of peace, a beacon guiding us through the inevitable darkness towards the dawn of his ultimate beginning. And then, the ultimate truth, the core of this terrifying, beautiful revelation, settled over me like a balm. The gnawing uncertainty, that seismic tremor I felt beneath the surface of my life, was not a precursor to paralyzing fear, but a profound, transformative awakening. Mel Gibson's unwavering gaze, though imagined, communicated a truth beyond words. The vision was never meant to terrify, but to ignite a fire, to reveal a divine purpose hidden in plain sight. My restless nights, the headlines, the sense of an impending reckoning, they weren't curses, but divine whispers, persistent calls from the very edge of eternity, urging me to listen, to prepare. Do you ever wonder if your deepest anxieties are actually signposts, guiding you towards a revelation you desperately need? This wasn't a punishment, but an invitation, a sacred trust to understand the profound power of God's uncompromising love and justice. The initial dread began to recede, replaced by an urgent, yet strangely comforting, clarity. His message, distilled into that single potent truth, shattered my complacency and reframed everything. His return, he conveyed, is not merely an end, a final curtain falling, but the ultimate beginning, a breathtaking, glorious dawn. This is the profound call, to live every moment as if you stand directly before the cross, feeling the raw, agonizing truth of sacrifice, and simultaneously, at the threshold of eternity, glimpsing the boundless promise of redemption. It demands that we embody the very essence of Christ in a world desperate for his light, not tomorrow, but now. In this breath, this interaction, the generational anguish, the feeling of being adrift without a compass, suddenly found its anchor. What greater purpose could there be than to reflect that divine love, that unwavering justice, in every single step we take? This readiness isn't about predicting a date. It's about becoming the living embodiment of his grace. A profound catharsis washed over me, a lightness I hadn't realized I was missing, like a heavy cloak finally shed. The incessant scrolling, the fragmented theories, the hollow echo of my own questions, they dissolved into a quiet, resolute peace. This dangerous discovery, once a source of anxiety, was revealed as a liberation, a blueprint for living. It doesn't ask us to cower in fear, but to stand tall in faith, fortified by the unyielding knowledge that his love is our ultimate shield. The vision, as channeled through Mel Gibson's profound conviction, became my compass, guiding me from the unknown sea to a steady shore. His return is not a threat, but our ultimate hope, promising a quiet strength that transcends all earthly anxieties, transforming the whisper of reckoning into a comforting, inspiring promise of an ultimate beginning. This profound peace, this quiet strength, is the true gift. So what does this profound revelation mean for our daily existence, for you and me navigating the mundane rhythm of life? It means embracing each dawn, not as another day to simply survive, but as a sacred opportunity to embody His grace. Let every interaction, every challenge, every quiet moment become a canvas for sacrificial love, for unwavering patience, for genuine forgiveness, both for others and for the imperfections within ourselves. Take deliberate pauses to silence the world's incessant clamor, allowing the gentle whisper of the Spirit to guide your path, offering direction amidst the digital noise. This urgent truth isn't a call to fear, but a powerful invitation to live with an open heart, fortified by faith, knowing His love is our steadfast shield and His imminent return, our ultimate glorious hope. It transforms anxiety into purpose and uncertainty into an unshakable peace. The journey from gnawing uncertainty to this quiet, profound peace feels like a homecoming, a ship finally navigating treacherous waters to a steady, luminous harbor. The city lights, once a blur of despair, now shimmer with a divine promise, each flicker a silent testament to an enduring hope. The whispers of reckoning, once chilling, transform into the gentle rustle of leaves in an eternal garden, beckoning us closer to a truth far grander than our fears. This is not merely an ending, but an unfolding dawn, painting the horizon of our souls with colors of purpose and unwavering faith. You, too, can feel this shift, this sacred invitation to shed the weight of distraction and embrace the light of an ultimate beginning. Let your heart be the compass, guided by sacrificial love, preparing for a reunion that transcends all earthly imaginings. In this readiness, find your unshakable peace and let it illuminate every step. Take a moment now, in the quiet aftermath of these profound truths, to let them settle within your spirit. This isn't just a story I'm sharing. It's an invitation, a call to reflect on where you stand in this unfolding journey. What part of this message, this dangerous discovery, revealed through Mel Gibson's vision, resonates most deeply with you right now? Perhaps it's the urgency of time, the call to sacrificial love, or the quiet strength of daily devotion. We are all on this path together, seeking meaning amidst the noise, preparing for what feels both inevitable and glorious. I wonder, where are you in the world as you hear these words? And what time is it for you right now? Share your reflections below. Your unique perspective adds to our collective understanding, weaving us closer in this shared human experience of hope and readiness, preparing for the ultimate beginning.